welcome to the Niner Fanatic podcast. My name is Peter Lucas, and today we've got quite a few storylines for the 49ers early in their offseason. Super Bowl's on Sunday, and honestly, I really feel like this one isn't a really anticipated matchup. Not just the 49ers aren't in the game, but I just don't feel a lot of excitement around it in the media and in fans in general, like of the NFL. I just don't feel it. And in years past, it didn't matter who was playing. I really I really was excited about just watching the Super Bowl. And in this one, I mean, I do want to see Joe Burrow do his thing, and yeah, we'll see what happens. But yeah, like I said, people in the ESPN are honestly more worried about where Aaron Rodgers is going or if Tom Brady's going to come out of retirement. More, I hear more about those things than the actual game, like the actual Super Bowl. The reason why we have all these off-season moves and we play all these games all season long is for this moment right here. And it's kind of a lackluster event right now. And I don't necessarily know what how it's gonna play out. I'm expecting excitement leading up to in the first couple of days before the game, but I mean we'll see. But storylines I kind of want to talk about for as far as the 49ers are concerned. I've got a few that I just want to bring up and we'll just be fleshing out throughout the off season. But the first one is, where's Aaron Rodgers going? Okay, I've heard a lot. I've been on Twitter, get on Facebook, you get on social media in general, and you hear a lot of people talking about, where's he going? Could he want to come to the 49ers? Uh, there's just, I just want to alleviate your minds, all the 49er fans out there. He's not coming to the 49ers. It's not going to happen. So if you had some kind of inkling that there might be something brewing under it, it's not. Stop it. Stop it. It's not going to happen. So it's not only not only do they not have the resources to trade for Aaron Rodgers, they're not signing him as a free agent. They can't trade. They don't have the resources to trade for him. But not only that, Green Bay is not going to trade him to the 49ers. It's not going to happen. It's just not going to happen. It's that simple. It's not going to happen. So it's not even worth talking about it anymore. So I'm not even going to continue to talk about it because, and then honestly, if they trade Jimmy Garoppolo, even if they trade Jimmy tomorrow, they don't have the cap space to fill out the rest of the roster if they traded for Aaron Rodgers. So just stop. All you're doing is frustrating yourself because you're going to set yourself up for failure later. But the next storyline we're going to talk about is Tom Brady. So Tom Brady just retired, guys. Let the man sit in a hammock and with a pina colada like for at least a couple of days before you're just automatically planning him to come out of retirement. I don't. Is he the goat? Absolutely, in my mind. I love some Brady. I love me some Brady. I think that Brady is a really good player. I'm a 49er fan first and foremost, but I love the way the guy plays the game. I love the way the guy approaches the game. And I'm a Michigan fan, so it's so I mean a little soft spot in my heart for the guy. But the reality is he the GOAT? Yeah. But do you waste another year of Lance's rookie deal on chasing a Super Bowl? I don't know that you do. I don't know that you do. I think you need to really as the 49ers, I feel like they really need to concentrate on just staying the course of what they've been doing, developing talent, developing this culture that they now have of not just winning, but the culture of how this team it's really apparent to me how much they bond. But this team bonds together And I think it comes down to the physical nature of this team. I feel like Kyle's temperament is part of that. The way Kyle coaches them, I think that's a part of that. The coaches that Kyle picks to be his coordinators, I think that's a part of it. Um, I just think that you want to continue that culture, and like a guy like Aaron Rodgers, I don't think fits into that culture. To be perfectly honest, is he a all time great quarterback? Yes, he absolutely is. But but the guy is a me guy, and in my mind, he's a me guy. He's not a team guy. So I don't want him anywhere near the 49ers. And Brady, while he is the epitome of a team guy, do you like I said, do you waste another year of Trey Lance's rookie deal? And I don't think that they can afford to do that. I think that they need to get some guys in here and start developing them to take over for these other high priced guys that they've already signed that I'll get into later. Uh, and just continue to develop. The reason why the Patriots have been good for so long was because they were able to get rid of guys a year too soon rather than a year too late. And it's just and not only that, but they found a way to bring guys in and develop them to take over for those other guys. So I think the 49ers really need to concentrate on that piece of it and the team development piece rather than chasing that one player that can possibly get them to a Super Bowl. Uh, they almost got to the Super Bowl with Jimmy Garoppolo, which tells me that they don't really need much. They don't really need much from the quarterback spot to get them over the hump because they almost won. They almost got to the Super Bowl. So do they need a Tom Brady? I just don't think that they do. Now that might be incredibly uh I don't even know what the word for it is, but it's it's not out of the realm that Trey Lance may be good enough to get you there with all the pieces around him, the defense, the coaching, the offensive pieces that this team has. There's just a few spots that they really need to upgrade in the offseason. And I totally think that they could go for a run next season with Trey Lance. So Tom Brady, I would just say no. And he has there's the same issues as Rodgers in that they just what kind of pay cut is Brady going to take? And then here's another way of looking at it. Let's say that they trade it because for that to happen, they would have to trade something to get Brady's rights, which everybody keeps speculating that it'd be Jimmy G. Oh, we'll just trade him Jimmy G. Stop thinking that everybody wants Jimmy G. First off, Jimmy G is not every coach's cup of tea. I don't think. I don't think, and I know by being in these Twitter spaces and like all the other stuff that there's a lot of fans that feel the same way that I do. That know that there's not a lot of teams that the fans for sure don't want Jimmy G. Um, but if they traded him to Tampa, I mean, how do you think that he would fit in with Bruce Arians? I don't think that he would fit. I don't think he fits in well there. Bruce Arians likes to air the ball out. Jimmy G ain't gonna do that. He wants not to check it down, but he wants to live in that middle of the field underneath area. And that's not what Bruce Arians likes to do. Um, no risk it, no biscuit. We all know how Bruce Arians does. So yeah, I just don't think it's a good like not only would they not want him, but you're trading Jimmy G for the rights to maybe get Brady if he decides to come out of retirement. It's not worth it. It's not worth it. They could get a at least a third round pick for Jimmy G and maybe a second. Some team out there may be stupid enough to give us a second round pick for him. But because I've seen crazier things happen. So I just I don't see it. I don't see it. It just doesn't make much sense to me. I think it's a good storyline for the NFL because there's always a random storyline for the NFL, and we can piece together that Brady loved the 49ers growing up, and he would love to be a 49er. They say the same thing about Aaron Rodgers. Like, but you guys got to use the brain every now and then and see through the nonsense and look at the context and look at the facts and just know that that's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. So don't get. I just don't want anybody to get their hopes up. But the next thing on my agenda is, what do they do with Anthony Lynn? Is he just going to be a running game coordinator, or do they give him the full OC coordinator spot? And I tend to think that he's going to be just a running game coordinator, which is a feat in itself. I think he's going to give Kyle some alternative ways to looking at the running game. I think you might see a few different wrinkles this coming season with that. But I would like to see them. I would like to see them go get another guy to develop Trey Lance, because that's not Anthony Lynn's specialty. And I just want to see them. I would like to see them go after uh, a guy that I was talking that I tweeted at the other day, in John Beck. That's a guy that I have on my radar. He's worked with Kyle Shanahan before, and I just feel like, and then there's always Sage Rosenfels that I heard Javi Vega talk about the other day on his podcast, and but I'd like to see one of those guys that Kyle uses in his QB Collective venture. That I would like to see one of those guys get a shot and get in the 49ers system and see if they can help out just with the development of Trey Lance, because we know that he still has some things to work on. But I mean, he's young. The guy's young. He's got with uh with what we've seen from him. I think that sky's the limit for this kid. The kid has undoubtedly has a good head on his shoulders. I think that you're about to see what he's really capable this next season, and it's going to be. I have a feeling it's going to be really, really good. But yeah, what do they do with Anthony Lynn? And I tend to think that they're just going to leave him as a running game coordinator. Maybe next season, kind of boost him up to that offensive coordinator spot. But I'll be interested to see who they have in that offensive coordinator spot. But look for Shanny to bring in one of those guys from the QB collective to maybe, yeah, at least get a passing game coordinator role. Um, the next thing I want to talk about is thing that I talked about earlier, and future salary cap issues. So who do you trade? Who are they going to trade? They're going to have to trade one of these guys that they signed to multi-year contracts that they locked up, and made. They made Kittle the highest paid tight end. Then they made Warner the highest paid linebacker. Uh, Eric Armstead got paid. They got who else do they pay? They're about to pay Debo. They're gonna pay Bosa. Uh, who is gonna? They can't pay everybody. So what's gonna happen with all these guys? Eventually, somebody's gonna have to go. Like I said, it's going to be up to them to find these diamonds in the rough. Like they find them in the draft in those later rounds, and it's going to be up to them to continue that trend and maybe grab some guys off the scrap heap like they've been doing, and developing them into something more than what they currently are. So, but the first guy, my first salary cap casualty could be Eric Armstead. He would probably be my first choice if I had to choose somebody. I like Eric Armstead, and coming off of this season that he had, where he finally got to be who he truly is, which is a tackle. Belongs in the interior, and we've been saying, all of us have been saying this for years, that he was playing out of position. I get why they wanted him on the edge from time to time, but he got to play on the interior full time this season, and it showed exactly why he belongs there. He had a phenomenal season, and I for one would not. I don't want to see him go, but I feel like it's going to either be him or Javon Kinlaw. One of the two of those guys is probably going to get traded within the next couple of years. Within whether it be it could be this as early as this offseason, because we haven't seen much from Kinlaw. I mean, it was his rookie year, and I thought he had a solid rookie year. Now, did he have a bunch of sacks? No, but I felt like he did have flashes, and I know a lot of people don't think so, but I saw something there, and I thought he was poised to have a big season this season, and then he got hurt right away, and it's unfortunate for him, but I think that he has a chance if he can stay away from the injury bug. I think that he has a chance to be a really solid player. We know what Eric Armstead is, and I think it really for him it comes down to what they're gonna do with DJ Jones. Like, do they re-sign DJ Jones? If they re-sign DJ Jones, I think that could spell the right could spell the writing on the wall for Eric Armstead in my mind. Um, but it's just funny that people were roasting him for the last 2 seasons about they should have picked DeForest Buckner. DeForest Buckner doesn't have a great season this season, and Eric Armstead is the one that has a really good season. Uh, and not that DeForest Buckner isn't a good player; he's a good player. I just think that there a lot of these defensive linemen thrive in the 49ers system, and with Chris Kasurik, who turns guys into much better versions of themselves. I think we saw it this. I think we saw it this year with a couple of guys that ended up going elsewhere, and I'm not even going to mention their names, but it was they went elsewhere, and it wasn't quite the same. Now, uh, yeah, it's just gonna be interesting. I think that they can find value elsewhere. So, um, but the next guy on my list is Fred Warner, and pains me to say this because Fred Warner is like one of my favorite players on the 49ers. But I think if I was thinking from a GM perspective, uh, the 49ers for the 49ers, linebackers grow on trees. Like they have a knack for picking linebackers that just show up and show out. I mean, Aziz should not have been as good as what he is, and he is phenomenal. He took over for Warner in one game this season, did a phenomenal job. Now, granted, that's only one game, but Warner had kind of a down season to our standard. He still had a pretty decent season, but we just made him the highest paid linebacker, and now and then he has a kind of a down year. And I can't really attribute it exactly to what it was, but he struggled in coverage. He struggled in coverage this season, and I think the PFF numbers. I don't have the PFF numbers in front of me, but the numbers said that he kind of struggled in coverage, and it was just kind of weird. I don't know if he was struggling with D'Amico Ryan's system and how he fits into that, or if he just had different responsibilities and that was what was causing him to struggle in coverage. But it just wasn't. He wasn't the same dominant sideline to sideline guy, and he wasn't shutting down the guy that he was guarding. Because he used to be one of the best coverage guys in the NFL, and this season he was kind of just a guy. So um, I think that might be one of those ones. If he has another season like he had this past season, I may not have a problem with them getting as much as they can for him if they have to. Um, George Kittle, and I say it quickly because I don't want to get hit by your imaginary tomatoes and all the other things that I know you want to throw at me right now. George Kittle is the heart and soul of the 49ers, but he is getting miles on him. He had and from no fault of his own, he had a down year this year. And not because of I don't think it was because of injury. I think it was because we have Jimmy G at quarterback. I think it was because because of the struggles that they had on offensive line, they were forced to keep Kittle in as a blocker a lot to protect Jimmy G. I expect that to change this season because Trey Lance will be able to move out of the pocket, but we don't know what Kittle is going to be in the next couple of seasons. I just think that his style and his physical style and the way that he plays the game is he's going to have injuries. It's going to happen. And as much as I love the energy and I love the physical nature of the guy, he's going to get hurt. He's going to get hurt. And it's do they continue to pay him this dollar amount uh, in 2 or 3 years when he's 30? I don't know that they do. I just don't know that they do. I think you try and get what you can for him at that point. And man, love Kittle. Like I love Kittle, but as a business if I was a GM, you've got to do what's best for the team. And I think at that point we'll have a new leader and a new leader on this team in Trey Lance. And I don't think it'll be as big of a thing to get rid of Kittle. Uh, you hate to lose a personality like that in the locker room, but you can't pay everybody. So, but my last guy that I'm looking at is Brandon Ayuk. Brandon Ayuk, he hasn't even gotten a second deal yet. But I think that he might be a candidate for trade because he's shown flashes. He has shown he doesn't really get hurt that much, and I think this next season he's about to show up and show out because he's got Trey Lance throwing him the ball this season. I think he has shown that he has been open over and over and over again. I think Jimmy didn't have the touch, didn't have the arm strength to get him the ball on the regular basis, which once again, no fault of Ayuk's. And for him to do what he did his rookie year with the quarterbacks that were throwing him the ball, I think he did a phenomenal job his rookie season. He struggled in the beginning of this season, just he struggled getting on the field thanks to Kyle and whatever it was that he wanted from him. But yeah, I just think that Ayuk is. I think he has potential to be a really. I think he has potential to be a wide receiver one, which is exactly the reason why he may be a trade candidate to maybe get a first round pick for him, at least get a second, and because they're going to need picks to start to replace these guys. They're going to have to develop new guys. They're going to have to bring in, and I talked about it earlier. They're going to have to develop these guys, and that's what makes all these coaches that Kyle brings in so important to this to the continuation of this culture. It's going to be interesting to see how they handle the salary cap going forward. I know that we're supposed to get a big jump in salary cap in 2023, but they've still got to pay Bosa. They've still got to pay Debo's probably going to get paid this offseason. I just don't see how they're going to keep all these guys under the cap. And I could be wrong, but I think one of those four guys is probably going to get moved in my mind. But once again, we'll see. But I do have a question. Who benefits more from Trey starting? Is it Kittle, Ayuk, or Debo, or is it the running game in general? And I tend to say it's the running game in general that is going to benefit from Trey Lance, and not because he's a running quarterback, because I don't think that they're going to use him like Lamar Jackson or anything like that. I don't think he's fast enough for them to use him like that. But I don't think it's because of that. I think that the running game is gonna benefit because Trey is gonna throw the ball down the field. I think Trey is going to take chances throwing the ball, pushing the ball deep and hitting some of these other guys in the passing game. And all of a sudden, once you start completing some passes that they can't stack the box, these teams are not going to be able to do what they did against Jimmy in the NFC title game. They're not, if they try to do that, either Trey is going to get out. He's going to get out of the pocket and hit somebody deep. I mean, because the reality was Ayuk was open for a majority of this game, majority of that game, and I just think that that the running game could really flourish. Not just Elijah Mitchell. Be on the lookout. That I feel like they're. I mean, Trey Sermon. We know that he's got to get more run than he did this season. And then on top of that, Kyle is going to either take somebody undrafted or he's gonna draft another guy late, uh, another running back late, probably a burner a 4-4 guy that can just fly. And we'll talk about that later because I got a guy in mind. Um, he's gonna do that, so it's going to be there's always going to be a chance for this running game to flourish. They've got backs. They've got backs now. But as I said in the last podcast, I don't expect all those guys to be back. I don't expect Jeff Wilson to be back. I don't expect Hasty to be back. I don't expect Mostert to be back. So it's going to be a new look. It's going to be a new look backfield for the 49ers. So, but who benefits more? I think it's going to be the running game, but it's to me it's between the running game or Brandon Ayuk. And I've been saying that all season long. If Trey is in, I think Ayuk is the biggest beneficiary of the wide receivers because we saw it all season long. He's breaking cornerbacks' ankles, getting open, and only for him not to be throwing the ball or to be floated over his head or it to be thrown behind him or whatever the case was. I just think that Trey's really going to work on his craft this season. I fully expect him to, and I fully expect us to see a different level of accuracy from that kid than he showed this past season. And I thought he wasn't bad this season. So um, yeah, we'll see. But the next thing I want to talk about is the draft focus. I want to focus on the draft a little bit. What position do they draft? Their first pick right now is at 61. And what position do they draft there? I've been a firm believer that they should draft a safety to replace Jaquaski Tart because I don't think they're going to bring him back. But with all the picks that they're accumulating now, the compensatory picks that they're getting for Mike McDaniel, uh, and the ones that they got last year that they're going to have for this season, and I fully expect them to trade somebody else and get another pick. Um, with all those picks that they're accumulating, I would be surprised if they don't bundle them together and either move up in the draft into the bottom of the first round or bundle their thirds to get a second second round pick. That's what I kind of see coming. But right now, I'm going to focus on if as if like they're just going to do this straight up and down with the picks that they have currently. Now they're going to get, I believe there's going to be another pick that they're going to add to it, but they didn't have that loaded up in the mock draft uh, software that I was using. So I'm just going to go in with what was in there. Right as of right now, I believe they have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. They had 8 picks in there right now, but I think they're going to end up with 9. But right now, I got them at number 61. I've got them picking Jalen Petre, the safety out of Baylor that I talked about on my last episode. I really think that they need to go safety first pick. I really do. I think that they need a starter with this pick, and I feel like Petre can be a really great complementary piece to Jimmy Ward, and I think that he can get in there with very little drop off. And I mean you can't guarantee anything, but I think his skill set just matches what we saw D'Amico want to do this season. So Jalen Petrie is my first one at 61. At 93, I got Donovan West the center out of Arizona State. And once again, I talked about him in my last episode. And kid is a supremely athletic and talented. He plays guard. He played mostly guard, but he's been pretty versatile, and he played some center, and that's where he's really projecting to be in the NFL. And that's why I wanted to lock him down. I feel like he's uh he's a key. He could be a key piece to. He could start at guard at the much maligned right guard spot and learn from Alex Mack. Hopefully, Alex Mack comes back this next season so that he can teach whoever they draft. Because I do believe that they're going to draft a center. But hopefully he would be able to play guard next to Alex Mack and kind of learn, take him under his wing. So yeah, Donovan West. Look out for that name. I don't hear anybody talking about this kid, and there's really not much on the internet about him other than I mean they got some highlight reels and I found some tape on him, and I just like the way the kid looks. I think he's a junior, but which is a plus to me because that means he's just a little bit younger. I think he's going to be good, and whoever picks him up. But pick 131, I have Mario Goodrich, and I saw Eric Crocker post a video about this guy, which made me check some tape up on him, and uh, he's a cornerback out of Clemson. He doesn't really have the burner. He doesn't have speed. And when I say he doesn't have speed, he has functional speed, but he can get beat deep from what I've seen, but he's really good in press, really physical. And he plays special teams, which I think is key. As bad as our special teams was this past season, I think we're looking for special teams guys right now, and I think this guy could be a really functional. I don't think he's going to be a starter right away, but I think he'd be a good depth piece, much like Avery Thomas was. I think he has a chance to develop as the season goes along, and I'd really think that he would be good. I think that he would. This would be a good pick. He has the same kind of size and athleticism that Avery Thomas has, and yeah, I really more I look at this kid, the more I like him. Uh, and then also I got at 170, I've got Cole Turner. He's a tight end out of Nevada. Not fast, not really fast, but he's tall and he's tough. And he's a tight end that catches with his hands and competes blocking. And I think that's the 49ers. That's what they want. I think that this guy could be a mismatch on I think that Trey Lance is going to need as many big targets and guys that will compete for balls as he possibly can get. And not that this guy is going to be this guy's going to be a bookend with Kittle all the time, but I think this could be a developmental piece. I think that Charlie Warner really stepped up this season. He was really good as that second blocking tight end, but I feel they need a guy that can catch the ball at a better clip. I don't think Charlie Warner is athletic enough to be that guy. Um, and Ross Dwelly is gonna. It looks like he's gonna go away. It's not that I don't think Ross Dwelly was good, but I just don't think he was really good at anything. He's not a good blocker for sure, and but he just wasn't good at getting open. He wasn't like particularly good at getting open. He wasn't particularly good at catching the ball. I just don't. I just didn't think a lot of Ross Dwelly. He when he got his opportunities, he did serviceable, but yeah, I think that it's time to you're gonna take a chance on Charlie Warner, and then I think bringing in Cole Turner, I think he could fit with as like a third pass catching tight end, and he could develop into like a multiple threat guy, like because they split him out at Nevada, and he played in that type of an offense. So the guy can catch the ball, and it's I think he might end up being another weapon. But my next guy, 187, I've got Isaiah Thomas, an edge out of Oklahoma. Constant effort. constant energy, kind of a bigger guy. I believe he's 6'3", 267, but constant energy and developmental guy. Like because he's right now he's an energy guy, but as an edge rusher, I think he could really be a rotational piece for the 49ers. And with some teaching from Chris Kassir, I think he could really this kid's a piece of clay that could be molded into a player. The more tape I watch of this guy, the more I'm falling in love with the effort. I love the effort. I love effort guys, and I just think he's one of those guys that would be really. Uh, he's not going to stop. He's never going to stop playing, and that's really what you need, especially with from your rotational guys. At 257, I've got Calvin Austin third, a wide receiver out of Memphis, small but fast, and he's more quick than fast. Like he's fast, but he's really quick out of his ins and outs and his cuts. His routes are really nice. Had a really good Senior Bowl, but yeah, runs crisp routes. Yeah, I think of him more as a gadget guy, almost like what they use Rondell Moore for in Arizona. It could be because the 49ers don't have anybody like that on their squad, and I think they need that type of guy. I feel like he could be a candidate for as a returner. That's so yeah, that's I think he might be a good fit. Then we at 258, I've got Spencer Burford. He's a tackle out of UTSA. He's a technician at the tackle spot. Needs to bulk up a little bit. I think he's barely 300 pounds. Uh, he's aggressive. He's really aggressive, but he could be a future starter if he bulks up. He has really good athleticism. I think he's perfect for the zone scheme, and I think that he eventually could replace. I think in another world he could actually replace that. He could be a stalwart at that right tackle spot. I don't think he has a chance to be a left tackle, but as a right tackle, as a run first guy, I think he could be really good. Pass blocking, I think he's solid. Um, but he's not a liability in that. But I mean, at UTSA, what kind of competition was he going against? So, but but I think that he could definitely be a developmental piece. He's at the very least a nice depth piece. So, and at 259, I've got Tyler Beatty, running back out of Missouri. Third down receiving back, excels in zone, has great burst, fast. The guy's fast. He has a quick first step, and which is what Kyle Shanahan wants in his running backs. And he's kind of little. He's only 5'8", but I think as a change of pace from Elijah Mitchell, and you got Trey Sermon in the mix there, I think that he could be what they wanted Hasty to be, because he can actually catch the ball out of the backfield. The guy's a dual threat. He's a true dual threat guy. And I think the 49ers need a guy like that on their squad. So they need that change of pace. I think they have a lot of just physical guys, and they need a guy that can just flat out fly. And I think that they have a chance with Tyler Beatty. I think he'd excel in the zone scheme. So that's my first mock live, broadcasted live, but that's my third official mock draft. Um, and look, like we're gonna keep changing these mock drafts around as guys fall and climb up the big board, because the reality is we haven't even gotten to the combine yet. And when the combine hits, a lot of guys are going to either are going to go up or they're going to go down. And I honestly I have an idea that a lot of these guys that I'm picking in the later rounds, they're probably going to rise once the combine comes out and those numbers, these teams get to see these numbers. So this by no means is this like going to be a definitive list or who we're going to be drafting, even close to who we're drafting when it comes time. But these are just guys that honestly that I've got my eye on, and I'll be interested to see my key guy in all of them is Donovan West. I think that he has a chance to be a star. And I mean, as much of a star as a center can be, but uh, but yeah, I just think he really has a chance to be a star. And then Petrie, of course, I think that he has a real chance to play next to Jimmy Ward, and they have really good chemistry with him. So, but that's really all I got for this week. Thank you guys for watching, listening. I had a little bit of problem getting on earlier. Had some technical difficulties, but thank you guys for checking in. I will be back next Wednesday. Hopefully, no technical errors and no having to put my kid to bed. So, um, but yeah, I'll see you guys next week, next Wednesday after the Super Bowl. Go Bengals because we don't want to see no Rams winning. But yeah, thank you guys and go Niners.